All right, my YouTubers, thank you for taking a look at this video. Today, you will learn the basic fundamentals of JavaScript, which is extremely crucial to learn in order to excel in advanced concepts. So, I'm going to give you the bare bones of concepts, one YouTube video at a time, instead of combining the whole video, and it just takes up too much time. And this way, whatever concept that you're not familiar with, you could just quickly watch this video and then move on with learning your other materials. So today's topics, we're going to cover strings and variables. We're going to talk about JavaScript variable. First, a variable is a way to store a value for later. So we're going to have two files that have multiple lines in them. We might want to store a value and access it later in the program. And this could be useful for tons of different situations. It's such a core feature that we're going to use it in every single script that we write. Imagine we're creating an application that allows users to sign up as they enter their email and their password. We are pretty much storing those as variables, and then we can access those values to do meaningful things, like check if the email is already used or if the password has a greater length than 9. So let's go ahead, create our first variable, and then it will be easier to see why something like this would be very useful to create a variable in JavaScript. So the first variable that I'm going to create is a city. Okay. And okay, so what I have done right now so far is I created a variable. And in order to declare a variable, you use something called let. Okay, so it's a type. We have to follow the language conventions, and that's exactly what we're going to be learning. For now though, we're going to start by creating a very simple variable, and the first thing we have to do is type let. And as you can see over here, that I have typed let. Now let is what is known as a reserved keyword in JavaScript. It's part of the language and it has a special meaning to it. When JavaScript it runs through our files and sees let, it's going to know that we're trying to create a variable. Now we take a space after that, and this is where we name our variable. For example, after this space, your city is what we call the variable. And now within that variable, what are we storing? Are we storing a string? A string is where you type in text. So pretty much that's what we just stored. I stored the city, and the city that I'm from is California. So then your variable has the string, and that's how you declare the variable city. And now we're going to create a second variable called country. Now what country am I in? So in order to type in text, remember, you have to create a string. And how do you create a string? By creating quotation marks, as you see on the screen right now. Okay, so let's say put USA, semicolon, and this is a third line. You could have your variables on other lines too, but I like to separate it so it's pretty much nice and neat. So the third thing we're going to talk about is, so we talked about strings and then we talked about variables. Now how can we, the next topic that we're going to talk about is concatenation, how we combine two variables to produce something as an output. Let me explain. So let location equal city, which is our variable here, and then I want to combine that with a comma. And how do I do that? String, comma, space. And then I want to add my second variable, which is country. This is very important because I create a variable that has subvariables within it. So for example, I created a variable called location, and within that variable I'm storing data from city, which is California, and data from country, which is USA. So let's look at the output. And in order to see the output, you want to do something called console.log, and then you type in your variable within the parentheses. So location, and then comma. So now we go to our command line prompt, which is here. Quick way to access that is open in terminal, and you'll be right within that path. And then you'll type in node, assuming that you have Node.js installed, and you will actually type in the JavaScript file name, which I wrote as strings.js. So type in strings.js and enter. You noticed that when I wrote console.log and typed in the variable location, it actually read what was within that variable location. And just a reminder, the variable contained the city, which is California, and then I added plus and then a comma. As you notice, I wanted this comma there. So that's the significance and the function of that part. And then I wanted to add the country that I'm from. So the country has a string called USA. Okay? And pretty much that's how strings and variables work. And it's very important to know that, and how to combine both the strings and the two variables. So over here, you notice I combined a variable here by using a plus sign, and then some text, which is a string, and I also combined another variable. So you could do this with other type of programming tasks as well. So very important to know this. If you guys have any questions, type it in the comments, and I'll be happy to explain furthermore, or any questions that you have. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe so you could get these videos in your inbox daily, or at least 3 times a week. And this way I get a feedback from what you guys actually are looking for me to cover. Any concepts that you would like, shoot me a comment and I will work on that video next. Thank you. See you in the next video.